Hi, my name is Coach B, the CEO, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcomes. I'm an ordinary person with extraordinary aspirations who believes in living life fully alive. Welcome to Monday Morning Magic. Hi, my name is Coach B, the CEO, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcomes. I'm an ordinary person with extraordinary aspirations who believes in living life fully alive. Welcome to Monday Morning Magic. Welcome. Hi, my name is Coach B, the CEO, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcomes. Welcome to Monday Morning Magic, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for your personal and professional development. I am a certified life coach who has worked with a variety of people in different stages of their lives who wants to be the CEOs, co-creators of extraordinary outcomes in their life. Welcome. Today's topic, 5 A's to an apology. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Wow. Welcome. I'm so excited about today's topic. 5 A's of an apology. Let me get into the background of it a little bit. And I want to start from a little bit of my history. If you could relate, put it in the chat. Say, hey, put an R. I can relate. That's if you are on YouTube. Even if you are watching the rerun, still put an R in the chat and say, hey, I can relate to what you're saying. So, growing up in my household, if there was a situation or event that occurred, my parents would say to me, apologize. You need to apologize. And I can remember standing there as a young child, befuddled at this request for me to make an apology. I did not understand the purpose, the reason, the impact of making an apology, especially, let me put emphasis on especially if I thought I was correct about something. So I'm young, something happens, my parents go, better apologize or else you're getting a spanking. You're going to be disciplined if you do not make an apology. So, of course, I made the apology. I didn't want to spank it. I didn't want to, be disciplined. I'm a kid. I want to play. I want to have fun. So I go begrudgingly, I'm sorry. And I remember my parents saying, say it like you mean it. And then I would go, I apologize. But deep down in my heart, in my spirit, in my soul, I didn't mean it. I wanted to get out of trouble. I didn't want a spanking. I didn't want a discipline. Maybe I couldn't go back outside and play because what had happened was I didn't understand what I was apologizing for. What was I apologizing for? If I was correct, then why did I need to make an apology? Then that grew into, during adolescence, I'm not going to apologize if I am right, because nobody can force me or make me or intimidate me and tell me to apologize if I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I'm not apologizing. I'm going to stand my ground on this. I'm not going to apologize. I'm just simply not going to apologize. Then, as I developed some more in young adulthood, then it became, why should I apologize? Tell me, what did I do? Why should I apologize? So you can see from childhood, adolescence to adulthood, this theme about making an apology, either I had to make an apology because I didn't want to get in trouble. When I was an adolescent, I'm standing on my ground. Listen, I'm not apologizing if I didn't do nothing wrong. And then later in young adulthood, it was, why do I need to apologize? Well, what do all three of these things have in common? That's what I want to talk about for a minute. What do these things have in common? I'm only thinking about myself. That is what all three things have in common. I'm only thinking about myself. What did I do wrong? I don't want to get in trouble. Why should I apologize? So it had been about my perspective, my state of mind, what's in it for me. So I want to talk to you about some of the reasons why people don't apologize. And again, if you can relate, just put an R there. Just put an R. If you're watching this on a rerun, just put an R. It will definitely help me because I would see it in the comment section, be it on Facebook or YouTube, I would see it. So some of the reasons why people don't apologize, they lack insight. I just talked about that. I see there's a viewer out there. Thank you for your support. And if you want to leave a comment, feel free to do that as well. It looks like I have a comment. Oh, hi, Albert. Good morning. How are you doing? Right. So again, this apology, the apology. And Albert is watching from Facebook. Thank you, Albert, for your support. So again, lack of insight. Lack of insight. Lack of insight. Again, it was about me. How did I feel? How did I think? What perspective was I coming from? And what I didn't realize at the time is that, you know what? Somebody else was involved in the situation, circumstance, or event. Now, when I was younger, I could give myself a pass for that. But what happens when you get older? Then another reason why people don't apologize, they feel like it's a sign of weakness. They feel like it's a sign of weakness. I'm not going to apologize. I didn't do anything wrong. And it's a sign of weakness. Believe that they didn't do anything wrong. Again, they're not looking at the other side of the picture, the other scenario. And let me say this right now, right now. We're not doing right, wrong, good, or bad. We're just talking about a circumstance or event that has happened. And we want to acknowledge that, right? Don't want to seem like a bad person. Again, we're not talking about good or bad, right or wrong. So they're protecting their ego. If I apologize, then it seems like I'm a bad person. I did something wrong. Therefore, I don't want to apologize. Or hesitant, become hesitant in the apology. Sometimes people don't apologize because of their positioning in a relationship. I'm the adult, I'm the parent, I'm the boss, I'm this, I'm that. So it could be positioning. What's the position in the relationship? Whether it's work, family, or friends. And then lastly, And this was big for me during adolescence. I'm not apologizing because whatever I did, you deserved it. Let me say that again. During my adolescence, if I did something to you, you deserved it. I warned you, I told you not to do X, Y, and Z. You didn't stop, so you got what you are getting. You deserve it. So sometimes the rationalization, the justification can do what? It can interfere with a person's ability to apologize. To apologize. Again, if you can relate, put it in the Facebook chat, put it on YouTube, put that R up there. That lets me know that you are listening, that you're involved, that you know what, we're on the same page. But now we talked about why people don't apologize. But let's talk about this. Let me just move something ahead and move. Okay. Let me the struggling going on over here, but it's okay. It's okay. I found what I needed to find. Boom. Why are apologies important? Let's talk about that for a little bit, right? So I got 2 likes out there, loving the support, really appreciate. Why apologies are important? Let's get into this. It increases, it increases or improves trust in a relationship. It increases or improves trust in a relationship. It increases self awareness. Again, as I got older, I began to realize I'm not the only person in this interaction with another individual. Self awareness. Because I'm now aware that there are other people in this circumstance, now I can accept some personal responsibility for what? For my part. Not your part, but for my part. What was my part in the situation? What was it that I did that caused some kind of harm? And let me talk about harm for a little bit. Harm doesn't have to be intentional. Harm does not have to be intentional. Let me say that again. Harm does not have to be intentional. It validates the harm that was caused, whether it's intentional or not. Something, whether it was emotional harm, physical harm, mental harm, there was some harm that was caused. It improves our communication skills as well. So remember, last week I was saying I was going to talk about things left undone. A lot of times, one of the things that go left undone is an apology. And let me say this, timing is essential, it's important, because if a person is still hurt from what you did and you try to apologize, you can cause even more harm, because sometimes people need to step back, take a breath, regroup, and then come back to a situation. So let's now talk about what are the 5 A's of an apology. What are the 5 A's of an apology? One would be acknowledge what happened. What's the event? What's the issue? So we don't come into the conversation, well, I didn't do nothing wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, those are your feelings, and you need to take care of your feelings. That's not an apology. That's a lack of insight. That is not an apology. Awareness goes, acknowledgement goes. There is a possibility that I caused some harm and didn't realize it, or I caused harm and I realize it, and I want to do what? I want to address the situation. The second A, I want to acknowledge that something happened. Two, now when I acknowledge something happened, it doesn't have to be intentional. It could have been unintentional. Somebody's bringing something to your attention. Say, hey, can we talk about X, Y, and Z? And go ahead, yeah, let's talk about it. What happened? Again, we don't want to use accusatory language. Well, you did this and you did that, you did that. I felt when X, Y, and Z happened. So I want to take responsibility for my own emotions. I felt this way when something happened. Then the other person could do what? Acknowledge, oh, that wasn't my intent. I apologize that you felt that way. Address the impact. I can see how that can concern you. Whatever that situation is, I can see how that would concern you. What does that do? We are addressing the impact of whatever that scenario, situation, event was, right? Then accountability. Again, it doesn't matter whether it was intentional or unintentional. We want to accept accountability. Whether it was meant or not meant, we want to accept accountability. It wasn't my intention to do X, Y, and Z. However, I can understand how you might feel that way. I can see that from your perspective. It doesn't mean that you lose your perspective. What you're doing is actually adding in a second perspective, yours and theirs. Now we're doing what? Now we're in communications. Fourthly, be authentic. Be authentic. Be authentic. Be genuine in in the conversation. Hey, I didn't mean to cause you any harm. I understand how you felt that way. Let me know how I can make it up to you. What is it that you need for closure? Not, and let me put an emphasis on not telling the person, well, I apologize. I'm not going to do that no more. Uh, you all right with that? I apologize. I'm sorry your feelings was hurt, and I'm not going to do that no more. That's not even an apology because there's no conversation on what took place. There's a rush through the process. So when we talk about being authentic, being genuine, it is being in a place of compassion and listening and having empathy for whatever took place. Again, this it doesn't matter so much whether it was intentional or unintentional. A lot of people get caught up on, well, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Okay, I got that. You didn't mean it. Let me give you an example of something. You get into a car accident. The person didn't mean to run into your car. Maybe they brake slipped or whatever. They didn't mean to run into your car. But it does not mean that your car is not damaged. Just because somebody doesn't mean something doesn't mean that harm wasn't caused. So again, we want to be authentic. We want to be genuine. We want to have some empathy. We want to have some compassion. It's not, well, I apologize. If you can't accept my apology, then later for you, I'm out. Listen, I got a lot of years on earth. I've heard a lot of different iterations of quote unquote the apology. Lastly, and the part that gets missed so often is the actionable steps. How would you like to proceed? What is it that I can do? Not tell the person, well, I won't do that anymore. That's not the actionable step. Thank you for telling me that you won't do it anymore. I really appreciate that. But the part that's missing from that, if there's no acknowledgement or understanding of what actually happened, how could you not do something anymore if you don't understand what actually happened? Therefore, the conversation, the earlier conversation between two people are really important so that we can get to the nitty gritty of what caused the harm. We don't want to step over it. We don't want to trivialize it. We don't want to rush it. but we want to acknowledge that it's there. So, actionable steps. How would you like to proceed? What can I do to make this amends? Not telling the person what you're going to do, asking them, how can I make this up to you? And they might say, you know what? I need some space. I need some downtime from the situation. I don't know what the scenario is, but that might be required. That might be required. They might need some space. Don't personalize it. Just give the person space. Why are we doing all of this? Why are we doing all of this? Again, what are we going to? What we want to do is improve the trust in the relationship. Trust, whether it's mental, emotional, financial, spiritual, we want to increase the trust. Once the trust is broken, the relationship is stagnated. It might be at a place that is irreparable. It may not be able to be fixed at this juncture. And sometimes by not apologizing in a way that's conducive for everyone that's involved, it can create more harm. It can create more damage to the relationship. This is important for us to realize. See, I used to think if I said, well, I'm sorry, that the person should accept it. But what was missing was the other elements of I'm being sorry, right? And some people will tell you being sorry and apologizing are two different things. When you apologize to a person, you accept responsibility for your action, you have some self awareness, you come together at the end of it, and you make a mutual agreement about what the next steps could be. It's not, I'm sorry, I said I apologize. If you can't handle it, then you know what? I'm not responsible for your feelings. Those are not apologies. Those are not apologies. Those are, and I'm going to say it nicely, they're not apologies. Those are really coming from a place of egoism, right? What that means is I'm in my head. I don't want to look like a bad guy. You know, yeah, I apologized. But deep down, there's no accountability. There's no insight. There's no self awareness. It's just, no, I apologize. And if you can't accept that, then you're on your own. Then they make it your issue. Opposed to, hey, something happened. Again, we're not going good, bad, right, or wrong. Something happened. Let's straighten it out. Then let's get to a place where both of us can walk away with a win win, something amicable on what's going to happen. An example would be somebody says uh, they owe you money. Money is a big topic, right? Somebody owes you money. They say, hey, um, they borrowed money from you. They owe you money. They say, you know, on Friday, I'm going to pay you back. Friday comes, it's after 5 o'clock, it's payday. Uh, it's now 10 o'clock at night. You haven't heard from the person, you haven't seen the person. Of course, you want your money back because you loaned it to the person, and you don't hear nothing from the person. You call the person up and say, hey, everything okay? You want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I didn't hear anything from you. You know, I thought I would hear from you, but I now I know you had mentioned that you would pay me back X, Y, and Z. And they say, yeah, well, I ain't got it. That's creating harm. It's not so much about the money. What's the harm in the scenario? They didn't notify the person. The person had to notify them. Then the person nonchalantly says, hey, I ain't got it. And they leave out, hey, I'm sorry for the inconvenience that caused you. How can I make that up to you? So, what an apology would look like in that scenario, yes, that's the awareness. Yes, I borrowed money. I made a commitment. I was going to pay you back on Friday at 5 o'clock. I failed to call you. I failed to let you know. It may have created an inconvenience for you because you were depending on that money, needing that money back. I did not say anything to you at all. You had to reach out to me first before I reached out to you. What I would do in the future, if I borrow money from you and I can't pay you back on time, I would like to call you in advance as soon as I find out that I cannot pay you on time and let you know that I cannot, and then work on another agreement, such as can I pay you tomorrow, Saturday at 12 noon? Or can I pay you next Friday because some extra things came up? That's the full thing of the apology. Then the other person has the right to say at that point, thank you for letting me know what happened. I accept your apology, and just next Friday will be fine. Or they have the option of saying, thank you, never mind, forget it, keep the money, I'll keep moving on. Please note though, because you didn't call me and I was depending on that money and you have come across as unreliable, I won't be lending you any money anymore. And that's the closure, right? So again, the apology, gotta acknowledge what happened. Gotta address the impact. What was the impact? The inconvenience. Maybe you hurt somebody's feeling, knowingly or unknowingly, right? Accountability. That wasn't my intent. I'm sorry I did that. Hey, let's figure out how we could work this out and then come up with a plan. Be authentic and then come up with some actionable stuff and make a plan. And again, what sometimes gets missing is the accountability. Sometimes what gets missing is the impact of what happened. Sometimes people trivialize it, downplay it. Like I said, that can happen for a number of reasons. One, a lack of insight. They don't want to appear weak. They're only thinking about themselves. And they're not thinking about, hey, this is relational. I'm in a relationship with another person. I want to say to you that this has really been great uh, doing this 5 A's to an apology. I want to thank you for coming out for Monday Morning Magic, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you next Monday.